Good day, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our Crafting Core Purpose business coaching webinar today, where you'll learn a simple exercise to craft the core purpose unique for your organization that will help drive success. How many of you can tell us right now in a single sentence what the core purpose of your organization is? How clear and succinct is it? How clearly are you able to communicate this to others, both within your organization and outside of it? The power of purpose is evident as the world fights the urgent threat of the COVID-19 pandemic, with a number of companies doubling down on their core purpose at the very time stakeholders need it the most. That's a quote from a recent McKinsey article called Purpose Shifting from Why to How. And that's me, CEO of Agile Work Solutions, Jerome Dickey. Transforming business through people, that's what we do. And essentially, I help guide CEOs, executive directors, executive leadership teams in identifying their barriers, working to build and implement a roadmap through a proven, practical, and profitable approach for growth. In essence, we transform business through people by helping to simplify the complex with a focus on the 7 attributes of agile growth. And many people I work with are chief executive officers, executive directors, boards, executive leadership teams, entrepreneurs, small, medium enterprises, and community organizations. So what are the 7 attributes of agile growth? Well, in essence, it's a strategic business framework for growth that addresses every aspect of business operations, yet is designed to incorporate outside content, tools, and principles. Think of it like an open operating system rather than a closed one. It never stops evolving. Too often we're seeing CEOs and leadership teams lack discipline and a culture of accountability. And as a result, they don't commit to the consistent application of a proven framework for growth. Put simply, they're failing because they've failed to commit. Well, the 7 attributes of agile growth is a more disciplined approach. It's empowered by a proven, comprehensive, yet adaptable framework for growth. And through our research, we know that those who select the right framework outperform their competitors. On top of that, their CEOs are more confident and productive. And as a result, they're able to build award-winning companies and greater personal wealth. So a true strategic business growth framework is agile, it's comprehensive, and it remains consistent through time. Instead of a passing fad, it serves as a foundation within which new content, research, and tools can be integrated. And that's exactly what the 7 attributes of agile growth framework is all about. Here are the 7 attributes of agile growth: leadership, talent, strategy, execution, customer, profit, and systems. Today, for core purpose, we're going to focus within the leadership attribute. So this is a bit of an analogy of the 7 attributes of agile growth framework. Think about building a home. After the foundation is laid, the framing of the home sets the basic structure for the home and all the rooms. If you think about it, you're going to have family room, kitchen, bedrooms, office, laundry room, etc. in there. Each room's carefully framed in, and the home would be incomplete without each room. Once framed, each family that lives there in the home for years and decades to come may change the colors, they'll change the decorations, they'll change the furniture, but the basic 7 rooms remain well framed and the core of the home's benefit to the family. And so it's with the 7 attributes. Each is vital to a company's growth, from startup to full maturity. And through time, various tools, service providers, and content can be added and modified. But the basic framework remains intact and holds the home, if you want, together. So the 7 attributes of agile growth framework is agile, scalable, and comprehensive. By agile, we mean it's continuous evaluation, course correction, and alignment. And that helps you outpace your competitor's strategy, their execution, and their profit. Scalable, it's a framework, and it has tools, and advisors like myself can help you scale all the way up from an IPO right through to an exit. It's comprehensive. Through thought leadership, practical tools, and expert advisors, you too can move forward in a very successful and profitable manner. It starts with building an annual plan, a growth roadmap with your leadership team, which I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. You learn and apply the 7 attribute tools continuously, and there's a lot of them. Access progress frequently, annually, quarterly, monthly, weekly. You'll be reviewing key aspects that keep your framework moving forward. Here's just a quick look at what the Agile Growth Roadmap looks like, just to give you an idea what it is. It brings everything together onto sort of these 2 pages, makes it very easy to see, follow, and utilize. Every company has a business plan. The question is whether you've intentionally and proactively planned it out as a team, or somewhere between winging it and having a well-documented current plan. Is your business plan this simple? Well, it could be. As we mentioned, the tools are simple, practicable, and actionable. And by simple, we mean they're 1 page and easy to understand. Practical, they include learning, instructions, and discussion how to apply it to your business. And they're actionable. They require discussion and application to your business and its unique needs. And we'll do that today as we talk about crafting your core purpose. Well, let's start here with a question for you. As a CEO or senior leadership team, what core purpose is aligning your decisions? Think about that for a moment. And if you've got a piece of paper, write it down, jot down a note or 2 on that. Second question, what results when your organization's core purpose is not clear, is not communicated, is not understood, and is not part of your culture? Again, jot down a note or 2 while you think about that. Okay, moving along, because we have limited time here this morning. I want to respect your time being here. We're going to talk about the leadership attribute, and when we talk about core values or core purpose here. So now let's take a look at this attribute, which ensures that your leadership team is aligned, healthy, and authentic. And that is the key question here. Is your team authentic, healthy, and aligned? Why or why not? What's impacting these 3 areas? Is there something you have not dealt with or addressed together? So core purpose, a fundamental aspect of it is what difference are you making in the world? As an organization's core purpose is the reason for being, and that's according to Jim Collins' work, and also answers the question, what difference are we making in the world? It goes deeper than profit and job creation. So why do we call it core purpose? Well, it's the foundation of your business in every sense of the word. And you'll use it for making decisions, guiding your organization, and for aspects like hiring. Your core purpose, you have one, whether you realize it or not. If you're not familiar with Jim Collins, I highly recommend reading a couple of his best, including his recent BE 2.0, which is an update of his Beyond Entrepreneurship classic book. Jim has spent his life researching the most common features across all great companies, and many companies use his research as foundational to their own learning. One is Amazon, who has invited Jim to implement his insights into Amazon. Now, I know what you're saying. You may think, well, that's Amazon, this large and successful company. What's that got to do with me and my small or medium-sized business? Well, remember, Amazon, like every other successful large business at one time, started out small. Amazon started in Jeff Bezos' garage. And I saw a picture of this recently. It's amazing that he operated out of this for some time and built this huge organization from that. Sometimes we get mixed up on what's the difference between mission, vision, purpose, strategy, all these terms thrown out there. Well, let's give you an example here. So if you think about pursuing a star across a mountain range, so think up in the sky, you've got a star up there, and you have to climb some mountains to move forward to get closer to that star. So your mission is a specific objective. And here the mission would be climbing a particular mountain, going up a mountain, down a mountain, up a mountain, down a mountain to get you closer there. Each mountain is a mission. It's an objective you're working to get over. Purpose is the guiding star itself, always out there on the horizon, pulling you forward. So you always see that on the horizon. That's what you're working towards. Vision begins with core values and beliefs and includes your core purpose along with your mission or a clear and compelling goal, which is another way of saying that. Strategy is a path to attaining your vision. Now, don't get too tied up in that, in this terminology. It's more important to get started just trying to build out your core purpose and going from there. So can you match the core purpose on the left side with each of these well-known companies on the right? Escape, happiness, restoration. And if you said Starbucks' core purpose is escape, well, you're right. It's to provide escape from one busy day with a personalized beverage. Disney's core purpose is create happiness for family and friends. And Medtronic's core purpose is to restore the health of people who can benefit from their products. There's many others to look out there at organizations. You can read on the websites often. One I like is 3Ms, to solve unsolved problems innovatively. That's the company that created the Post-it note we're all familiar with, and many other useful tools that we use in our business lives daily. Another is Mary Kay Cosmetics, and theirs is to be a company that gives unlimited opportunity to women. Now, this is a company that sells cosmetics, and yet they don't even talk about that in their core purpose. Their core purpose, again, is to be a company that gives unlimited opportunity to women. Think how powerful that is as that guiding light for the organization. Companies can be highly profitable, employ thousands of workers, but also a deeper reason for being, and is making a difference in the world according to what's important to them. John Mackay is the CEO of Whole Foods Market, which he co-founded in 1980. And he wrote a wonderful book called Conscious Capitalism. He was also Ernst & Young's Entrepreneur of the Year in 2003. He's one of the most influential advocates in the movement for organic food. And when he talks about core purpose, he talks about it helping a company cease to be a conglomerate of members with individual goals and becomes a team chasing why together. He says this impacts on the motivation, the commitment, the innovation, and the creative capacity of the company's members. So you can see how powerful this is. A well-defined core purpose helps really focus an organization. And he said it also helps be a source of energy and union for the organization. That's the power of core purpose. He goes on to say, we are not retailers with a mission. We are missionaries working in retail. Stores are a canvas on which we paint our deepest purpose of bringing whole foods and more health to the world. Let's go a little deeper on this, though. As I mentioned, Jim Collins, in his research and one of his books, Good to Great, he discovered some important information about core purpose from the very great companies he has studied. And he's done extensive research over decades on this. And he came up with 5 important attributes. And these are them. Higher purpose beyond profit. As we mentioned, it's moving beyond the financial to a profit to something more that's going to build people, inspire them. It does not change, but it inspires change. So it inspires change in employees, in the leadership team to move in a particular direction, but it doesn't change itself. It works around obstacles. Your strategy may change, your operational plans may change, but the core purpose doesn't. It inspires team and volunteerism. So it inspires the team members in your organization, but not only that, it inspires volunteerism. It may encourage employees to get involved in the community to support, again, your core purpose. If you're a nonprofit, it may support that, it'll drive that as well, in helping get volunteers on board to make that core purpose come to life, come true. And finally, it's the difference you make in the world. Because if you're not making a difference in the world, then why do you exist? You're going to have a hard time motivating people in the long run of your organization. So the core purpose should be broad, fundamental, inspiring, and enduring. And as Jim Collins says, it should guide your organization for the next 100 years. Enduring great companies preserve their core values and purpose while their business strategies and operating practices endlessly adapt to a changing world. Core purpose often has its origin with the founder. And so if your founder is still in the business or you have access to them, a good way is to simply start by asking some questions. Why did you start the business? Tell me your story. But then listen carefully. And often within that story, you will find the core purpose. Now, we don't all have access to the founder of an organization or a business. They may have moved on or no longer be with us. So for a leadership team, it's important to ask some fundamental questions amongst the leadership team themselves. And that is, why do we exist? What would happen if we went away? Why do I devote my creative energies here? And in his book, Conscious Capitalism, John McKay identified 4 types of core purpose that are helpful as we consider your company's core purpose. So let's take a look at those. These are helpful criteria for you as you think about your core purpose and help guiding you in developing that. The 4 types are the good. And he mentions good being choosing to provide service to others. And what do we think about when we think about that? We may think about the Container Store, which is exemplary for doing exactly that. The truth, in search for truth and knowledge, which Google illustrates through their business model approach. The beautiful, it's about pursuit of beauty, excellence, and quest for perfection. And who do we think about when you think about that? You might think about your phone, if you've got an Apple phone, and the elegant product design that's lived by Apple. Fourth, the heroic, embracing acting on a desire to change the world. And that's Grameen Bank, that is shown through the lives they have touched in their efforts. So consider these 4 frameworks, this framework of the 4 types of core purpose as you develop and refine and build your own message. And this is a framework helps eliminate the trivial and get to the heart of purpose by using them as a bit of a litmus test. Okay, now we get into the fun stuff, folks. Let's put all this information and these great examples into action. So we're going to use the core purpose worksheet to develop or refine your company's core purpose. So I sent it to you earlier. If you don't have that, don't worry. We'll send it to you again. But if you have it, now's the time to pull it out and use it to make some notes on as we go through this. So I'll give you a moment to do that. Again, if you don't have it handy, we'll send it to you after this session again. So you will have it. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So again, using this, if the founder was at the table with you today, that would be great news because you can interview them first. You can sit down and walk through this. And where it starts is we want to begin by answering the question, what is it that your company does today? And then we go through a process of asking a series of questions of why. Why do you do that? Keep asking why up to 5 times. And each time gain a little deeper on the level of purpose. Key attributes are a higher purpose, also something that doesn't change but inspires change, engages team at an emotional level, not just the head, something that motivates team to get around obstacles and barriers and is in service to others. Now, this isn't easy. This takes time. It seems simple, a simple form where we just fill this out. No, this is a start, but it takes time to develop a compelling core purpose. And we'll get you started today. So this is the form a little closer up here. We're just going to go through some parts of it to explain it to you. At the top here, we've got the attributes of an organization's core purpose. Just a reminder for you as you go through this and think about it. And you work through this as a leadership team. Keep asking 5 whys down below here. Start with the descriptive statement. What does our organization do today? What do you do? Sounds simple. Often it isn't. And then down below, we start going through this 5 whys questioning of it. And this often creates some really wonderful dialogue in leadership teams as they start to explore this. So from the description above, the descriptive statement, we ask, why is it important? And you can come up with some kind of an answer. And then you're going to ask, why does this matter? And then you're going to question that answer and say, why is it important? Why does this matter? Why is it important? As you go down deeper on each level here. And finally, at the bottom, we've got a bit of a reminder around the 4 types of core purpose. So it's all there on one page on this tool conveniently for you to use. Now, here's a little example for you. This is from Patagonia. And for those who aren't familiar with who Patagonia is, maybe most of you probably are, but if you're not, it's an American clothing company that markets and sells outdoor clothing. Okay, the company was founded in 1973 and is based in Ventura, California. They have hundreds of stores in 10 plus countries across 5 continents, as well as factories in 16 countries, and employ about 2,350 or so people. Okay, it's an activist company, supports environmental groups, it's political and land preservation, and is well known for its boycott of Facebook in July of 2020, making a political statement. But anyway, they're well known for their products and being very successful growing. And what they started with a descriptive statement saying, we make outdoor clothing. Sounds straightforward, right? Because they do. But then they ask, why is it important? Well, they said, because it's what we know best and what we like to do. But they didn't stop there. They asked again, why does this matter? And their answer was, because it's the best way to make innovative, high quality products that people will pay well for. But they went deeper. And as a leadership team, they asked, why is it important? And through discussion came up with, because that is how we can continue to be financially successful. But they kept going deeper. And they say, why does this matter? And they came up with, because we need the credibility of being a successful business and the resources to do business in the way we think it ought to be done. Now that's deep in itself, and they could have stopped there, but they didn't. They went even deeper and said, well, why is it important? And their answer was, because we ultimately cease to be a role model and tool for social change. We ultimately exist, to be a role model and tool for social change. And the only way we can do that is to be financially viable and successful enough to have the rest of the business community looking at us as a role model. So that's the process. Now it looks easy. You can imagine the depth of discussion that went on to get to each of these statements and kind of boil it down to this. At the end, they came up with their core purpose being Patagonia is in business to save our home planet. All of this boiled down to that. That doesn't talk about jobs. It doesn't talk about money. It's about saving our home planet. Well, okay, so here's another example for you, waste management. Now, many of you have seen these green trucks, maybe in your neighborhood, in your cities out there. Many of them around. Waste Management is headquartered in Houston, Texas, and was founded in 1968. Operates a fleet of vehicles of 26,000, servicing 21 million residents, industrial, municipal, and commercial customers in Canada and the U.S. And it was the three founders in 1968 started buying smaller garbage collection services across the U.S. So their sole focus was on garbage collection. And for a long time, that's solely what they did. They were good at it and they grew on based on collecting garbage. But then about a decade ago, Waste Management saw itself as a garbage company in a declining market. They hit a wall. The market was declining. They were no longer growing. So they decided to revitalize their core purpose and reinvent themselves to become the largest environmental solutions provider in North America. So that shifted their thinking and their focus, and many decisions throughout the company were made through that new lens. Since the reinvention of their core purpose, Waste Management has developed the largest network of recycling facilities in their industry. They've also developed a renewable energy capacity and produced more than 2 times the amount of renewable energy that the solar energy in the United States has. They've invested heavily in developing technology to convert organic waste into high-value compost for local growers. They have successfully transitioned from a mundane business of hauling people's residential garbage to becoming a valued entity in the communities in which they operate, because they saw their purpose as much deeper than making money and creating jobs. Here's another example for you. Apna Ashina. Now, this company is a home builder in New Delhi, India. And looking at their core purpose to arrive at that, they started by talking to the founder of the company. And so our leadership team talked to the founder by asking the questions that we said earlier to tell the story. And they asked the father what he cherished most about the company. And the first thing he came up with was happiness of the company. It's about people enjoying what they're doing. People believing that they're doing the right thing, and most importantly, that they're good humans generally dealing with good humans. So they started to figure out how to put this down into writing it down somehow. And they had a copywriter who was a friend, and she started jotting down notes on this and came up with a statement that reads as follows: "We believe in professionalism with a personal touch, because in our hearts lie neither statistics nor numbers, nor stones, bricks, or concrete, but people." So it was apparent that they enjoy what they're doing and are driven by the happiness of what they saw was being created. And they had this word in their smiles, but the smiles by itself sounded incomplete. So they looked at the customers and saw how they were being different. They realized they didn't just make homes, but they maintained them as well. So in the maintenance, they didn't just care about the electrical and plumbing, but also about the customer's lifestyle. They like to improve people's lifestyle in their projects. And therefore, they came up with the words nurturing smiles. 2 powerful words together came to represent this company. So in summary, crafting core purpose. Core purpose begins with asking the questions. Why do we exist? What would happen if we went away? Why do I devote my creative energies here? And the exercise, this leads to a powerful discussion with the executive leadership teams to go through these questions. Keep in mind the 4 types of core purpose: the good, the true, the beautiful, the heroic, and utilize the core purpose worksheet. Now you can work through it together as a group using the sheet, or you can go through it, put it on the wall with a larger size and use Post-it notes, which is also a really good exercise to do as a team. Either way, it's really powerful around the discussion, which you will find out by doing this. And finally, bring your core purpose alive within your culture. Because if your core purpose lives in some corporate document, on some wall chart somewhere, that's not going to bring it alive. And this is a good opportunity to bring your staff into the mix, your employees in, to figure out how to bring it alive. It's the leadership team's responsibility to develop the core purpose. But beyond that, you can certainly engage staff to figure out how do we now bring this and bring it alive and make it part of the ongoing culture of the organization, of your company. So 3 quick steps here to crafting your core purpose. Is your core purpose known by everyone? That's the first question you ask. Simply ask them. See how many people can tell you succinctly what the core purpose is. 2, use the core purpose worksheet to answer the questions. Why does your organization exist today? And using the 5 whys to walk through. And 3rd, communicate your core purpose. Communicate it in fun and memorable ways. Have fun with this. And it's helpful to review it annually as your organization grows. Celebrate success and share your stories together. Have fun. Utilize this. And it will become part of your culture. We absolutely love seeing our clients succeed. It's not just our job, it's our passion. We would love to hear your stories. Let's keep this discussion going. Let us know how this exercise worked for your team. If you need any help with this or other tools, feel free to reach out. I'll be sharing with you more at upcoming webinars, other tools, but anytime feel free to reach out and ask, and I'll give you resources, answer your questions anytime. That's what we're here for. So email me, let's connect, or give me a call. Thanks for joining us today. Take care, be safe, and stay agile. Bye for now.